So in terms of land flipping, if you are looking into land flipping, it has never been a better time to look into this.
Hi, I'm Michelle Bosch, real estate investor, mom, wife, and host of the InFLOW podcast. And I'm passionate about helping women invest in land and apartments. Join me each and every week for real estate investing strategies and interviews with thought leaders that will leave you inspired and ready to step into flow for inflows of cash, inflows of ease, and inflows of grace in your life. Now, here on YouTube are the video versions of my podcast, and in order for you to get my latest information, please go ahead and subscribe. And now, let's go.
Welcome to the InFLOW podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Bosch. I'm excited to come to you guys today. At the time of the recording, most of us, are at home. And that's why I thought it would be so incredibly important to give you guys an outlook on what I think is going to be happening, from the perspective of real estate investing and land investing specifically. Last week, actually, my husband and I, who have been doing, we've both been doing land flipping since 2002, did a State of the Union kind of like for land inside of our, Land Profit Generator Facebook group. And I thought it would be also good to, if you did not get to hear that, to give you guys a little bit of our perspective on everything that is going on right now when it comes to, the virus, the economy, the urgency right now for anyone listening to this to really start looking for a way to recession-proof their income and looking for a side hustle, because we are going into unprecedented times. We've never had this before. What we have had is a recession in the past. So what I'm about to share is being shared with all humility. I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does really. But what I'm about to share is based on my experience of having gone through an economic downturn and what are those things that we did during those times to not just survive, but actually thrive, from the perspective of land flipping. So like I said earlier, as many, you probably at the time, you're hearing this, you're probably at home with your family in some sort of social distancing and in quarantine. And that's exactly what we are doing as well. And we were a couple of weeks ago, we were of a different opinion in terms of, what the extent of the crisis, but we have changed since then. Our views on that, Italy right now is going through an incredible medical crisis. So first and foremost, I want to invite you all, to stay at home. It's a real threat. It's a virus that is, raceless, sexless, bipartisan, international, and it spreads really, really quickly. And we want to think of, statistics of mortality, but the fact that, some of our older, family members could definitely be at incredible high risk. For example, my mother is 75 years old and she also has high blood pressure. So she definitely falls into that, that profile. And we're doing everything we can, doing our part in terms of social distancing and quarantining in order to make sure that, that she stays healthy, that, that her immune system stays strong. We're pumping her and the entire family with vitamin C. And so, I just wanted to reiterate that if you haven't already started the social distancing, the self-quarantine, start right now. Everything that we do right now is going to only help slow down the spread so that we don't have a medical crisis like the one that Italy is having right now. So now moving on to the economy, we expect that during the next 4 to 6 months, there will be definitely a slowdown. And a lot of people in the industries, for example, such as retail, travel, hospitality, manufacturing, restaurants, bars, any service-based business that requires a large group of gathering of people, and for you to be physically there, and that cannot be done virtually, is going to definitely take a hit. And, there's already statistics out there, from the transportation department that approximately 3 to 4 million jobs are going to be lost, in just that industry. And so we anticipate that, that there's definitely going to be a slowdown, especially in those industries. And that I wanted to also say that we do expect a spike once that has passed, and once the next 4 to 6 weeks show whether what we're doing, as a country from a point of view of quarantining, if that is working, we will probably, see a spike in consumer, demand, because, all of these companies at some point, over the next, I would say 4, 6, 8 weeks, are going to come back into operations, and there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand for their services. And so we will probably even see a little bit of a spike, when all, normalizes back again. So having said that, I wanted to talk during this episode about how you can capitalize and mitigate the risk under the current economic conditions. And the number one thing that I'm going to mention is that mindset is going to be the number one thing that is going to help you. Mindset is so important. It is the one thing that can help you right now if you stay positive, if you stay enthusiastic, if you stay with a positive outlook for the future, is what's going to allow you to really, in spite of the craziness that is going out there, stay cool-headed, stay strategic, and make decisions that are based on strategy, not emotion. There's nothing wrong with emotions, but we want to be feeling the right types of emotions, especially during these times. So it's almost like like if you are coming from your mind, from your entire being, from a strong, positive, and optimistic outlook, that this frequency, allows you to make the decisions that you and your family need to make in a calm way, and especially if you are already a land flipper or are looking to start a land flipping business, it will definitely help you as we navigate, these uncertain times. So in terms of land flipping, if you are looking into land flipping, it has never been a better time to look into this. It is a business that can be done remote, virtually from anywhere. We have, students that are doing this from Germany, from Peru, from Colombia, from somewhere in Asia, people that travel the world. And that's because it can be done virtually. You don't have to run down to look at a house, inspect a house, estimate repairs on a house, negotiate with your seller, at the house. There's nothing that has to happen when it comes, to that in the land space. So right now, if you've been thinking about starting a side job, a side hustle, there's never been a better time to do that now. If you don't feel the urgency now, if you've been thinking, if you've been dreaming of, financial freedom, and you've been delaying that because you're waiting for the next promotion, or waiting for your kids to get older, or waiting, for, when you lose some weight, or waiting for whatever it is that you're waiting for, that waiting is a trap. Now is the time to go out there and start doing something that can be done virtually, that can literally within 90 days, start bringing streams of income for you and your family. Especially right now during an economic downturn, there is no better time to start looking at a plan B, just in case. And with land, we have the situation that we are buying properties for 5 to 25 cents on the dollar, and we're selling them for maybe 40, 50, 60% of market value. So even in a downturn, you can still make money and can still flip. There's going to be incredible amounts of opportunities when it comes to sellers, really being in need of you stepping up and serving them. And instead of projecting your fears into your sellers, actually serving them and helping them out, and helping them get out of the burden of property ownership, because of whatever circumstances they might be going on, in their lives. So now's the time for that. Most people tend to, under certain uncertainty like the one that we're facing right now, to retract and contract. And now is not the time to do that. Now is actually the time to really expand, to lean in, to step up and serve, those sellers. There's going to be buyers. There's going to be buyers for specific types of properties that you are going to need to start pivoting into, what we call this pivoting into profits, strategy that we've used ourselves, back in 2008 when we hit, one of the largest recessions that this country has seen. And that's exactly what we did. As a matter of fact, we are teaching on March 30th, which probably is the time that you're listening to this podcast, because that's when it's going to hopefully be published. We are starting Monday, March 30th for a course of a week, a free crash course called the Land Profit Lab. You can register at lpglab.com, and we're going to basically doing a 5-day crash course every day, going live inside of a Facebook group. You're going to be invited into. It's called the Land Profit Lab group. And we're going to be teaching live every day, interacting with you guys and showing you the types of properties, the 3 types of properties that you're going to want to pivot, especially during these times, where you want to be looking for the most profitable properties in the most profitable areas of the country, so that you don't have to do, trial and error and go figure out yourself how to do this, because you can do that, but it's going to take you crazy amounts of time to do this on your own. And we're going to be teaching you there and walking you through that process over the course of those 5 days, and really creating breakthroughs for you guys as we go. We're going to basically bring you along in how we, the pace that we work in our land business, so that you can also mimic and have the exact same breakthroughs that we are having in one of our Facebook groups. Last week, the entire week, over the weekend, today, people sharing how they're getting, contracts accepted, how they're selling properties, an entire subdivision with 14 lots. And so the success stories are there, even in spite of what's happening around us, because of what I just explained a little bit earlier, the fact that this business is something that you can do virtually and that you can do remotely, and where you're already spending, you're already buying really, really low, so that you can really still make a profit and protect yourself in case of any, market downturn or whatever, is happening in the economy. So like I was saying a little bit earlier, we are in a time right now where we need to really expand. And if you are already doing land deals, this is a time for you to really, put the pedal to the metal when it comes to mailings in the right areas and for the right properties. You want to really dial in that buy box. Because like I said earlier, now is not the time to test. If you have already experience in certain areas where you're able to really get great properties at with high profit margins, that's the places that you want to stick to right now. So go for higher price properties. You want to double down also on your escrow, periods, in terms of like have longer double escrow periods, double closings, because we use a lot of double closings in order to not have to use any of our own money. So you want to extend those periods out. You want to keep on sending out offers. You want to double down on your marketing efforts when you're selling, because now there's a ton of people that, like you and I, are at home and have the time to be online, buying, shopping, especially if you've been in the stock market right now and you are basically completely, kind of licking your wounds for the 10 days in the stock market. A lot of money's in real estate, and you want to be there front and center in front of your buyers, showing them that you are a market leader in a specific area. And because that's exactly what we've done in 2008. We've not only done it for ourselves, but replicated this and taught and trained others to do so during those times as well. And this is exactly the pivot that we needed to do in order to succeed. Now, this economic downturn, no question, will have challenges. We'll have situations where maybe the county recorder's office and title companies are going to be slower, but there's also going to be immense opportunities, especially in the land space. So I want you guys to really think about, like I said, if you've been waiting as a trap, now's the time to start looking for something that can produce cash profits and cash flow for you in the next 90 to 120 days, and land is the perfect asset class to do that. I cannot overemphasize how much how further ahead you'll be of anyone else that is looking into real estate. This is a gap in a niche. You know, it's almost like a secret niche. Nobody's willing to explore. Nobody cares to explore. And as a result, there's very little competition. And right now there's going to be even less competition, because whoever was in the market right now, like I said, the tendency is to retract and to contract. And if we instead lead in, you know, we can capitalize on the opportunities. So we are teaching a 5-day crash course starting March 30th at 10 a.m. You can register at lpglab.com. I would love to see you there. And like I said, every economic, you know, downturn presents challenges, but also amazing opportunities. And I'm excited to see you guys there. Now, also things that you can do in terms of your business setup. If you are already doing land flipping, or if you're going into this workshop, you know, with the full intention and commitment of starting something, of really protecting and taking control of your financial future and that of your family, certain things that you want to take in consideration. You know, can you do, you know, your mailings without needing to visit a post office through a mailing house? Can you have a virtual mailbox, you know, where all your correspondence is being scanned, you know, and all your accepted contracts are being scanned so that you don't have to leave your house? You know, what kind of systems do you need to invest in when it comes to automation, so that you can be much more reliant on process versus actual people? Because right now with the social distancing and quarantining, we can't necessarily go out there and meet a whole lot of people. So that's something to keep in mind and consider. Can you start also, you know, collecting on your seller financing? If you're using seller financing to sell out of your land, can you start using ACH versus checks in the mail, you know? Can you beef up your existing websites when it comes to selling and buying, either one? Search optimizing them, you know, making them customer navigation friendly, so that you can be well poised and positioned capitalize on the opportunities ahead. You know, if you have not built a list of buyers, what we called in the real estate world a buyers list, now is the time to start doing that, you know, and start leaning in when it comes to free Facebook, free websites such as Facebook Marketplace, you know, free Facebook groups, Craigslist, Zillow, you know, all of those are free websites that you can use. But also it's important to start considering and thinking about also paid advertising, Google, Facebook, you know, Google ads specifically. So that's something that you definitely want to start leaning in and investing some of your budget into this as well. We are doing the same as well. Also, have not been using our proven performance, you know, neighbor letters, you know, that are come as part of our land profit generator methodology. You want to start doing those now. Those are going to be, you know, amazing ways to, you know, sell your properties right now in this environment. So now's the time. What I want to leave you guys with is, now's the time to really pour into mailings like crazy, buy and sell properties. You know, a lot of people, you know, in the sectors that I just mentioned are going to be hard hit, but there's going to be a ton of other people that still have jobs that are concerned, that are scared, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to, you know, reinvest into the stock market. I want to put my money into something that is going to give me, you know, a return, that is going to be a possibility for me to have, you know, some sort of safety. And so you want to pivot to where those people that will still have jobs with cash reserves are going, and those are into more profitable areas. This is a person that is much more of an investment type of person, you know, when it comes to what they're thinking in terms of where to park their money, and those more profitable properties, you know, with a higher spread. Remember, you're here to serve and, you know, and help, you know, families on the seller side get rid of the burden of property ownership, and you're here to serve on the buyer side, people that are looking for an opportunity to park their money, you know, in an investment that is safe. And so right now is the time to really, you know, lean in, keep a positive outlook, step up, become a leader, you know, show your enthusiasm in service for both sellers and buyers, you know, and start a side hustle, you know. if you are listening to this and you are not in the land flipping space, now is the time for you to start looking seriously into something that can potentially bring 6 and 7 figure incomes, because it's exactly what we have been able to do by using our multi-million-dollar strategies and replicate in others, no matter what's been happening in the economy. We've been teaching this now since 2008. So in the middle of a recession as well, or going into a recession. And, what has happened is most of the people that we were able to give strategic advisory and coaching and mentoring have been able to pivot into these areas and have become market leaders in the geographical areas that they work their land flipping businesses in. So with that in mind, with that being said, I again would like to reiterate, we are having a 5-day free crash course on land flipping. If you register at LPG Lab, it starts March 30th. We're going to be doing it all throughout the week, and we are having those videos live. So if you're listening to this right now and say it's Tuesday and it's already April 1st, or Wednesday, April 2nd, or anytime during that time period, you can always watch. Now we have time to watch the videos. There are going to be replays there for you inside of the Land Profit Lab group, which is the group where you'll be invited after registering. So lpglab.com, and that's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on March 30th. Excited to connect with you guys there and teach you, something that has really been impactful, transformational for our family, and that I wish the same for you as well, for your family. Thank you so much, and I look forward to spending a little bit of time with you in this episode of the InFLOW podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to get inflows of cash, inflows of light, and inflows of faith in your life. I welcome your reviews on iTunes. Please leave me a review and help me create an amazing community of women in flow. Thank you, as always, for sharing your voice by going to michellebosch.com and joining the conversation about this show. And while you're there, grab a copy of my 10 Commandments to Living a Life in Flow. You can also follow me on Facebook at Michelle Bosch and on Instagram at Michelle Bosch Official. Thank you very much, and until the next one.